Hey there, welcome to episode 19 of the Rugged Angel podcast. I am your host, Camila, and I am super stoked to be here with you today. The Pittsburgh 48-Hour Film Project is coming to a wrap for 2015. We had screenings on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and they were amazing. Thank you to everybody who came out to support the local filmmakers. It really meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to them. And we all had a good time, right? You got to see some really great films that were inventive, that were creative, that were funny, that were terrifying. You had a good time. I had a good time. So come back and do it again because we're doing the best of screenings and award ceremonies on July 31st. Quick shout out to all the teams who won Audience Choice Awards. In Screening Group A, Pittsburgh Game Changers for Restart. Screening Group B, Command Pictures for Fuzz E Nuts. Group C, Children of the Corpsmen for Sarah Tremaine. And Group D, So Fresh Films for Change. Congratulations, guys. Those guys will be screening at our best of screenings and awards ceremony. We still have yet to figure out what the rest of our films will be for that screening. Our judges are still, watching films, making points and notes and calculating, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of scientific things that's going along with them. But shout out to my judges, Nicholas Manganello, Jillian O'Neill, and Dino DeStefano. Thank you guys for working super hard for me. I have to make sure to get you some sort of awesome gift to commemorate your time as a survivor for the Pittsburgh 48-Hour Film Project. So if you guys missed out on any other screenings, you can come see the best of the best on July 31st at the Hollywood Theater. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. You can buy tickets at pgh48best.bpt.me. You can also check out ruggedangel.com for a link. You can also check out our Facebook page, Pittsburgh 48-Hour Film Project. You can also check out the website, 48hourfilmproject.com/Pittsburgh, 48hourfilmproject.com/Pittsburgh. This week, my guest is Cindy Jackson. She is an actor, director, used to be an EMT, but she still holds the knowledge, don't worry, and a toolbox, I'm pretty sure. And she's also a very dedicated X-Files fan. She's hardcore into the fandom, and for those of you who are also in that fandom, you know that you're called Philes, Philes. I learned that in this conversation. And she also managed to get me to start watching X-Files. I had only seen maybe 1 or 2 episodes prior to this conversation, and now I'm almost done with season 1. So I'm trying to catch up before, the new ones start, and hopefully it sticks. Cindy is a hard worker. In addition to being involved in just local short films like the Pittsburgh 48-Hour Film Project and 3x7 Films, which I have spoken to you guys about before on this show, which is a group here that has started to kind of inspire filmmakers to make a film every weekend. She also just finished wrapping her play, Brood, which was here in Pittsburgh, by the No Name Players. She is currently in production on a short film called Muck. You can check out their Facebook page for more information on that. I think she's on set now as we speak, filming. You can look for her in the movie Concussion that was recently filmed here in Pittsburgh, starring Will Smith. And her IMDb page is just extremely impressive, so I encourage you to go check that out. And just listen in on what Cindy has to say about filmmaking and about life and about being a female in the film industry, and hopefully we all take away a little bit of something from Cindy's years of experience in the industry. And she's just a great person, and I'm super stoked that I had a chance to sit down and talk with her, and hopefully we'll get to hang out when there's not a microphone in front of us both, and we can just hang and chill and whatevs. Your words of wisdom. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. Alice Walker.
SNL sketches ever.
Welcome, Cindy Jackson.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thanks for having me.
to the Rugged Angel podcast.
This is awesome.
It took a while.
It did.
A lot of missteps. You were a very busy woman.
I was napping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
I have to
it's
work around my nap schedule.
important because I get that. If you don't schedule the naps and it doesn't happen, and you can't let anything interrupt that.
Right.
You know, it's just good times that way. So, Cindy, I have known you for quite some time through the 48-hour film project.
Yes.
But I don't know you. I don't think we've ever actually really spoken. So I'm pretty excited about
Me too.
that. Tell me about you. Where are you from originally?
Well, I grew up in a small town in West Virginia called Elkins. Population just around 8,000. Has a small liberal arts college there. And I got the heck out as fast as I could. When I graduated from high school, I went to WVU.
Mm-hmm.
And when I graduated from WVU, I ended up in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Was there anything in particular that brought you to Pittsburgh, or
I had been touring
touring
with a production.
of?
It was called Brass Theater at the time. And when I got off tour one year, I just ended up in Pittsburgh, just settled in Pittsburgh. Thought about grad school, and that was it. I've been here ever since.
Nice. So have you always, when did you get into theater? I'm assuming.
Oh, geez. I was a kid.
Yeah?
Single digits.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure it started with probably a church play.
Mm.
No, actually, the church plays probably came later. It might have been just the grade school plays. And I always had to be the center of attention. I was such a jerk as a kid.
So is that what drew you to acting? It's like, I need to be in the spotlight.
I think so. I think, as a child, I think it did. As I got older. Actually, no, probably my late teens even, I was still a jerk. And had gotten reprimanded and kicked out of the theater school at WVU more than once.
Oh, my God. What were you doing?
Just being a jerk. I was working. I was getting gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like rubbing it in the faces of everybody else in the department.
So you're definitely a graceful winner. So that's okay.
Yeah, I was a jerk. And it took me a while to realize that it's not about me.
Mm.
And once I did that, I think I really started to become more serious about acting, take it a lot more seriously, and treat others with a lot more respect than I had been treating them previously.
Wow, I can't believe that you were just like a straight up jerk. Because you just, it's like I feel. Well, I mean, whatever you did to center yourself, it has worked to humble yourself. Because I don't get that vibe off you.
Oh,
and
thank you. Acting genius. Thank you.
And scene. So when did you decide that, all right, it's definitely, what did you study in college?
I studied theater.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically your plan was to be a working actor. Do you prefer actor or actress?
I just go with actor because it's shorter.
Okay. So when did you decide you wanted to be a working actor? That was the main game plan?
Probably still in high school as a teenager.
Mm.
I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Mm.
I'd thrown around some other majors, some fallbacks like journalism,
Mm.
history, things like that. And did not start college as a theater major.
What did you start as?
I think I started as a journalism major.
Really?
I'm pretty sure I got kicked out of the journalism school. And then...
For being a jerk, or?
For not going to class.
That'll also do it.
Yeah, I had... I'm pretty sure it was journalism. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. I worked at the radio station briefly. I think I worked for the newspaper a little bit, the Daily Athenaeum, but I could be wrong about that. My long-term memory isn't very good.
So the important the things of non-importance really have just kind of like fallen to the wayside. It's just...
So I ended up in the theater department.
Okay, so luckily your short-term memory for remembering lines is much better than your long-term memory.
I'm notoriously bad for not being off book on the off book date. But I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I'm lazy and my ADHD sometimes just doesn't I can't focus sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So
What do you do to help you focus? Do you have any?
repetition.
Just repetition straight
Yeah.
up. Wow. So how often does it take you? How long does it take you to generally memorize your lines? Or
A monologue, it can take me a while.
mm-hmm.
But if it's just lines like in a scene,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot quicker because there's give and take.
Okay.
And
So just a little help to like remembering tools, I guess,
Right.
is what are memory tools
and
when you get a cue off somebody else, off your other.
yeah, and when you listen to what they're saying
Hmm.
and put yourself in the character's place, how would the character respond? It's easier to do that. The show that I'm in now starts off with a ginormous monologue, and not only do I have a monologue, there's parts of the monologue where two of the characters are talking over me,
Oh, really?
and we're in different. I'm not in the scene. I'm making air quotations. I'm on television. They're watching me on television.
Oh.
So the second I break concentration and hear them
Hmm.
when they're talking over me, I'll get lost.
Oh, and that's Brood. That's the production
Yeah,
you're in right now.
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about Brood.
Well, Brood is a wonderful play written by Scott T. Barsati. And it's being done by the No Name Players right here in Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
And it's about six sisters. Oh, boy, it's hard to explain. It really is. It's about six sisters who have a common interest, so to speak.
Okay.
And there's also one outsider in the play who's not one of the sisters. So it's about seven women, six sisters, and one woman. And it's a very challenging play.
Mhm.
It breaks a lot of normal gender barriers that you would see in regular productions.
Yeah.
There's certainly no patriarchy in this
Mhm.
show. And it's a wonderful group of women that I'm working with. They're all just amazingly strong
Nice.
actors.
Is this more comedy or is it drama with
It's
hints of comedy?
It's a dark comedy.
A dark comedy.
Yeah. The stuff that's funny is probably not intentionally funny, but it's pretty well written. Most of the reviews have been really well received, except for one who just quote unquote didn't get it,
Oh.
and that's fine. Everybody takes something different away
Mhm.
from a live show.
How long has it been going on?
2 weeks, where we start our last 4 shows tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to see it, it's probably going to be too late by the time you hear this podcast. But it was awesome. It was the best
It
show
was
ever.
Do you have anything lined up after this already? I would imagine, I mean, I can see from a lot of things that you've done, like on your Facebook timeline and stuff, that you're like consistent with booking gigs and whatnot, which is great.
It is. I'm lucky that I can be relatively selective in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to take everything that comes down the pipeline.
Mm.
But I'm also a very unique type.
Okay.
Not a lot of things are written for the type of character that I am. And I know my limitations, and I know what I can and can't do. So I usually know what I can audition for.
What type of character would you say that you are?
I would like to think of myself as, like the Melissa McCarthy type.
Okay.
I like to think that I have pretty spot-on comedic timing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's usually the comedic roles I go out for. And my agent wants me to go towards the more dramatic roles.
Oh, okay.
Because the TV shows that are shooting in town right now are both
Yeah, they're heavy dramas.
Yeah, they're heavy shows. So there's been a lot of talk about, stop doing all the funny stuff. You got the funny stuff. Do something different.
So it's more you just trying to step outside of your comfort zone. Are you just more
Right.
comfortable with comedy?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And when I went to audition for Brood for No Name, I auditioned for every character except for the one I got cast for.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And she's by far, I would say, the most gregarious sister
Mm-hmm.
of all of them. She's a little bit bigger
Mm-hmm.
than everybody, grander, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really happy.
Her personality
Yeah.
is much more.
And the type of role that she has in the family and her occupation. She's a race car driver.
Oh, jeez.
She's a NASCAR driver.
Oh, wow.
And a pretty successful one.
Nice.
And I just did a play where I was the first female hockey player in a minor league team.
Oh,
So,
wow.
breaking barriers.
Amazing. When did you make the transition from, are you doing more theater or are you doing more film? Or
It seems like I do more film.
what was your first film
Oh, geez.
experience that you can recall? Or one of your first?
It would. It might be. It might be an episode of Tales of the Highway Patrol. That was a show in the 80s.
Okay.
And I think I did a public access show when I was a teenager. I did stand-up comedy. I was horrible. But people would clap and they would bring me back every week.
So you weren't that horrible. Or you just had a lot of friends and family that were
That could be
in the
it, too.
audience.
But I think that may have been my first show. Tales of the Highway Patrol. I think I played girlfriend number 3.
Nice. Big stuff.
Yeah.
Big ground.
But the number 1 on the IMDb right there. Tales of the Highway Patrol. I think that was the name of it. Do you remember that show?
I have no idea what that show
It was
is.
pre-cops.
You said, oh.
And it was
in the
reenactments.
80s? Really?
Yeah.
Tales of the Highway Patrol.
And it was the old, I think he used to be a corporal, maybe, for the Highway Patrol in California. Monty, I can't remember his name, but he used to... It was around the time of Unsolved Mysteries, the Robert
okay.
Stack thing.
Yeah.
It was in that vein, but it wasn't nearly as dark.
Oh, okay.
And there had been a bank robbery in Morgantown. and the dude, like, got away, and they finally cornered him in a hotel. Still in Morgantown, and they came and did the reenactment, and I think they just pulled a handful of people from the theater department to be in this reenactment.
Really?
And so I think that was my first.
That's good stuff. Good stuff right there. Okay, so let's I guess kind of scooch on over to the
Oh, I don't mean to interrupt, but coming up, we were talking about things that I have coming
Yeah.
down the pipeline. We just launched today. It's a short film called Muck.
Okay, yeah, tell me about that.
And it is going to be filmed in Buchanan, West Virginia, which is
Where is that?
around 30 minutes from where I grew up.
Buchanan?
Yeah, if you get on I-79 south of Morgantown, keep headed like you're going to Charleston, you'll eventually hit exit 99, Route 33, and that's Upshur County, Buchanan.
Okay.
And it's a union film, and it's all cast by DC actors. And I just happened to send in a taped audition, and they loved it, so they hired me.
So what's your role? Congratulations.
I am the sheriff of Upshur County, Lisa
Nice.
Hughes. So I'm pretty excited. It's a good script. It's a short script. It's like 30 pages. But she's pretty funny, so I dig that. And it's kind of based off Serial.
Oh, okay.
These unsolved type mystery things.
Oh, wow. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So the guy is the character's from DC, and he finds about this unsolved mystery in Buchanan, so he goes to Buchanan and does his own
Investigation?
yeah.
That's really cool. When do you start shooting?
We start shooting August 1st.
Oh, wow. How long do you think that's going to...
It's a 8-day shoot, I think.
Well, that's not bad. You said it's like 30-page script. Not bad at all.
And I'll shoot for 2 days, be able to spend time with my family. So that's
that's
awesome.
awesome. So you still have family down in
All
West
my
Virginia?
family's down-
Oh,
yeah.
Are you the only one here?
When I got out, yeah.
What are your family reunions, quote unquote, like?
We don't really do those.
Well, I mean, just like when you guys get back together. Is there
Yeah.
anything in particular, anything special that you have to do when you get back with your family or when you go back home?
No. We're so boring. We're the most boring people. Like both my sisters live there, and they both have they're both married. And I have a niece who's living in Morgantown. But my sisters have dogs, and I go play with the dogs. So that's my thing.
Where do you are they younger sisters or?
Oh, they're both older.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm
you're
the
the
baby.
baby. Oh,
I'm the baby.
So no wonder you're a jerk. Says the older sibling.
But there's so many years between me and my oldest sister that she was starting college.
Oh, wow.
And I was starting kindergarten.
Oh, man.
So it was like she wasn't there growing
Oh.
up. And, we're close now, of course.
Right.
And then there's the middle sister who nobody remembers the middle child. I mean, come on, let's be honest. But yeah, so when I go home, I spend a lot of time with them and um, hang out with my parents. Try to do things around the house because I was a late in life child. Yeah, so my mom will be 79 this month.
Oh man.
And my dad's 80, and they're both in good health.
Yeah.
But
sometimes they can't change those light bulbs, or
right.
I don't know what people do.
Mow the lawn. Hire somebody to mow the lawn. Come on.
Yes, that's one of the things that bugs me nowadays. I don't know what kids are doing, but back in my day, kids, you would be able to find neighborhood kids who are willing to mow your lawn or shovel your snow for a nominal fee. And but now, like, they would knock on your door, like they would take it upon themselves to do it. But I have yet to. I think once I've had a child come and knock on my door and offer to mow the lawn.
Well, they do in my neighborhood.
I think my husband scared him off because he asked him if he had a business plan.
Start him young. But yeah, in my neighborhood, they'll knock on the door, mostly for snow removal.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of teenagers that live up on my hill, so I'm always well plowed.
Well, good. Well, that's good. At least they're somewhere.
Not the lawn, the sidewalk. Yeah.
So at least they're somewhere. Someone's doing it.
Yeah, so the kids at Penn Hills are good kids.
All right.
Shoveling
Good to
snow.
know. All right. No disrespect to those kids who are out there working it. Or working. Okay. So the Pittsburgh 48-hour film project.
Woo.
You have participated every year?
No.
Okay.
I think it's just my third year.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it.
I might have done something early. No, I didn't. Not here. I don't think so. I think it's just my third one with the same team.
Okay, and with Confluence?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall what your first year was like?
The first year was great. It was an ass early call time, which it always is. It was like 7 a.m. And normally I would be getting off work around 7. So my sleep schedule for years was messed up because I worked overnights or worked 24-hour shifts or, whatever. But it was an early call time, and it was this beaten up, rundown building in McKees Rocks. And we shot...
Is this the apocalyptic Christmas one?
Yeah, the apocalypse.
Last Straw?
The Last Straw, there you go. Won Best Film.
Yes.
Best of Pittsburgh that year.
Yes.
We shot it, 4 or 5 hours, we were done.
Wow.
It was pretty quick. And, it's all on the fly. If you get a script in the morning, you're fortunate.
Yeah.
Which we did. And, of course, we made a lot of changes as we went on and dialogue happened. And I think it was right around 4 minutes. Is that, 4 to 7?
Yeah, 4 to 7.
I think
so you were probably like a little over 4.
I think we could have been 7 for all I know, but I just remember it being really short. And we had a little girl, and she was fantastic. Jillian O'Neill was in it. She's
was she?
money in the bank. She is. She's so good. It's ridiculous.
I guess was she the little girl's mother?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Jamil Bowie was in it that year.
Mm-hmm.
He was. I yelled at him. That was pretty much my only line was I yelled at Jimmy. And he's awesome. And I'm drawing a blank here, but it was a good cast.
Now, how does it? I'm sure a 48-hour film and is much different process for you acting in that as opposed to any other theater or film experience that you've had. I mean, everything's much quicker. And like you said,
Right.
like the script most of it's going to be on the fly, and you don't have that much time to prepare. Did you find a trouble in that, in getting yourself prepared?
I didn't, because I like to fly by the seat of my pants.
Oh, okay.
So
it was like right up your alley.
Yeah, I like the Christopher Guest movies. I like the Larry David movies, or the Larry David projects, where you might get a beat sheet, you might get a line of dialogue,
Right.
but everything else is just a beginning, middle, and end. You figure out how to get there.
Nice.
So that kind of stuff I like, and it really is. The actors have it the easiest. There's no pressure on the actors. The editors, I feel sorry for the guys that are scoring it.
Mostly the editors.
Yeah, mostly the editors. The bit that they showed before the films last year.
Oh, the rendering?
The rendering was so funny. So funny.
True.
And the guy hands off, like somebody gave a laptop because it hadn't... rendered.
Yeah. So
Just take the laptop.
It doesn't matter. We'll just leave it here.
And there's a million things that can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little that can go right, and a million things that can go wrong. And it's a fantastic. And if you haven't done the 48-hour film project, you need to do it. If you're listening to this and you're like, shouldn't I do it?
Exactly. So if you are interested at all in any form of filmmaking or whatnot, even not really, it's just like a really good exercise, a creative exercise,
Yeah.
and also like stamina and figuring out who you are, the things that you can and can't achieve or won't or will or won't put up with.
Right.
I think it's like a really good test of that.
And you basically run it yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're like
Basically.
the only producer.
Yeah,
That's
for the last
crazy.
for the last 2 years, yeah, the only producer.
That's just a ridiculous amount of responsibility.
It
Thank
is.
you for doing it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Woo! I would like shut down the website. Like, no, we're not going to do it this year. I need a nap.
Girl, that's the main thing that I'm looking for afterwards when it's all said and done. Like by that fourth screen, by the best of awards ceremony, I'm just
You're
like,
just done with it.
I just want to like hand everybody, just find your name on the trophies and just go. I mean, I'm just gonna
Just
go
tweet
sleep.
it. Everybody will see it. It'll
I'm
be fine.
just gonna go to sleep. I just want to sleep. But so you said you liked going by like flying by the seat of your pants. Do you have a history in improv? Have you done improv? Do you do improv?
I do improv. I've done improv. I haven't done it in a long time, but I did it a lot when I was in college, especially in the 90s when it was
New
really
and exciting.
emerging as a art form. It's been around. The Second City's been around since the 50s, but the 90s was when it really started to push into the forefront. So we had an improv group in Morgantown. I teach an improv for actors class.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do with Nancy Mosser.
Oh, cool.
For her, and it's a workshop that we teach. And we meaning I just wrapped up the first one. It was pretty successful, but we have some great, improv places in town. Some great theaters.
Yeah, I know Arcade Comedy is one of them. Yeah. And I don't really know. I guess I don't know the theaters as much as I know the groups. I know Hustlebot.
Yeah, funny guys. Funny guys.
Well-Known Strangers,
Yep.
I think was another one they're participating this year in the 48.
Boy, that sock puppet one they did
right?
was just brilliant. That was a great film. I love that film.
It was so good.
Darn You to Hell. Was that the name
Yeah,
of it?
Darn to Hell.
Darn to Hell.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, so I'm like, sock puppets are like, that's an easy laugh for me. It's like, what? There's
But it was
sock
so
puppets?
good. It was so good.
But it was done so well. So, I mean, it wasn't like a cheeseball one, but like, yeah. So I'm super stoked that those guys are coming back as well as, it's cool to see everybody that does return as often as they do. I know Ted in Confluence Productions always says after he finally won the best film of Pittsburgh, he was like, okay, no more. I'm done. I'm retired. And he's been back like twice.
Yeah. Well, he won the year we won. It wasn't Confluence Productions.
That's
we
right.
had the Alias.
That's right.
And
And he
I
was
had-
bummed about that.
I had never gone to the pick.
Oh,
So
okay.
he sends me. He's like, nobody will know you. Nobody will know what team you're on. I get up there, and I remember you stick the mic in my face. They're like, what group are you with? I'm like, Vandalay Productions. Like, what? That's stupid. Don't do that.
And then they won.
So the year we won, it was not Confluence Productions. It was Vandalay Productions.
So when you are participating, are you just acting? Is that your main focus, or do you like to fill in and do anything else?
Well, when you do the 48, everybody, you may be reading lines off camera holding a boom mic, so you're definitely involved in everything. Now, I don't do anything post-production because I just don't have I can't sit still long enough to edit
The bandwidth.
anything. Yeah. There's only so much RAM in my head, and so yeah, when you do the 48, if you go thinking you're just going to be an actor, you're going to make a lot of people angry. Because everybody needs to chip in, and we were fortunate the first year, the year that we won, that we could all do it in one place. Last year we had several location shoots, and that we learned a couple valuable lessons about time management.
Oh God.
But we shot all day last year.
All day Saturday.
Yeah, like
Just-
up to 11 o'clock at night, midnight. It was crazy. With like a 8 o'clock call time.
Is there anything that you're most excited about for this year? Is there a genre that you want to get
Um,
really badly that you haven't sunken your teeth into yet?
no, I don't think there's a. I would prefer. Well, I would prefer not to have the musical, and I would prefer not to have the one we had last year, which was the. We did the silent film last year,
That's right.
which was fine. It came out well. It came out, you know, really good.
Yeah.
But it was just like, come on,
Well-
can we talk? Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you guys did you guys pulled double duty last year. You did Cleveland and Pittsburgh in the same weekend. And Cleveland's wasn't silent. So were you guys going back and forth from Cleveland? Did you shoot?
No, I think it was all shot here, except for they
There was
did
like a-
Mike, one of the halves of Confluence,
Mhm.
lives in Cleveland,
Mhm.
and before he came down Saturday, he shot, I guess, B-roll
Gotcha.
of Cleveland stuff.
Okay, yeah, I remember there was like a Cleveland skyline or something
Yeah.
like that maybe in there.
So he had shot the B-roll during the 48 hours,
Mhm.
and then brought it to Pittsburgh with him,
Okay.
and they edited it.
Did. That's such a tough word.
It's a hard
Edit in past tense.
English.
Words
So
are
hard.
words hard. So, I know that you guys have been doing 3x7 films
Yes.
like every weekend. First of all, where does the name come from? 3x7.
That is a Ted Haynes special.
Gotcha.
He was so inspired by Mark Duplass's South by Southwest speech
Hmm.
that he decided he was going to create a Facebook group called 3x7 Films, meaning every 7 days we would make a 3-minute short film.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some of
And-
them have been longer,
Hmm.
but the ideal goal was to just put down 3 minutes and see what happens.
And this is like what this went on for 15, 16 weeks.
I think we're on 17.
Oh wow.
I could be. It might be 18. We started the weekend of my birthday, so March 22nd, 23rd that
Okay.
weekend.
Wow.
Um,
That's pretty great.
Yeah,
That it's been able to carry on for so long.
and people have submitted scripts and said,
Mhm.
"Do what you want with them."
So basically, it's just kind of like that. It's almost like I don't know, like a bulletin board, I guess, or like an employment office of sorts. People submit scripts that they've written, or people are like, "Hey, I want to shoot something," or "Hey, I want to play a role such as this," and you guys kind of.
The most effective way to get a film shot is to pick a date
Mm-hmm.
and then say what you need,
Mm-hmm.
and then people start to fill in.
Oh, okay,
And by the time the date rolls around, you have a shoot on your hands.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Have you seen all of them that were done? Have they all been edited?
we have several that are in editing right now.
Uh-huh.
Because it's all volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are editing that have never edited before, so this
Oh,
is
wow.
like a new thing for them.
Okay.
So some of the process is a little slower.
Yeah.
The first ones, I think the first 5 or 6, we shot on a Saturday or Sunday and had up on the YouTube channel by Wednesday.
Oh man.
But it's slowed down. The editing has slowed down a little bit.
Oh, it happens. It's summer.
Editing.
Once the snow hits the ground, there'll be plenty of time for editing. People, no one's gonna be doing anything. So
And-
yeah, so there's a YouTube channel,
Yes.
3x7, 3x7 Films.
Correct.
YouTube as well as the Facebook page, 3x7 Films.
And Twitter at 3x7 Films.
Sweet. You were getting ready to say something and I totally cut you off.
And Instagram 3x7.
Oh, really?
Films. Yeah.
You guys are on the gram. You guys are all over the place, just making sure that trying to connect folks.
And if you have a script you'd like to email it 3x7films@gmail.com.
Excellent. So what else are you up to, Cindy?
Oh. That's a good question. Let me think about it. Well, I'm finishing up Brood. We got 4 days left.
Hmm.
So I'll be sorry to see the show go.
Do you write it all?
I don't. That ADHD kicks in, and I just can't. I want to.
Mhm.
Like I ideally I want to write a. You know who Anna Deaver-Smith is?
No.
Okay. She's been on a lot of things, but did you watch The West Wing?
No.
All right, hold on. I got an IMDb her. I think she was maybe on How to Get Away with Murder. I know she's on something now. But anyway, she had perfected the one-woman show in the 90s.
Okay.
She had done some just very hot topic political, like she's a game changer.
Okay.
She's doing one now in San Francisco about the Baltimore riots.
Okay.
She's brilliant. I saw her do the one she did one after the Rodney King beating.
Oh wow.
Called something Fires. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't remember it. But that was the first one I saw. I think I saw it in Brooklyn, and just fell in love with her. She's amazing. She's a tour de force, and I've always wanted to do a show like that.
Okay.
So my background is in EMS. I was a paramedic for 15 years.
Oh really?
And I
think I knew that.
Probably
15 years.
Yeah, 99, I think I started.
Wow.
So I want to do a show in the vein of the way she does hers. With I can't decide if I want to do actual 911 calls or have first responders tell me their stories and put the stories into a show, or turn it into performance art, immersive theater. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's ideally what I want to do.
That's really interesting. I would definitely see something like that. Why did you stop EMS, working at the EMS?
It's hard. It's rough on your body. It's rough on your mind. I worked... at one point, I was working upwards of 100 hours a week.
Really?
Every week.
Oh, my God.
So
a week?
Yeah. I would do like 224s, 216s, and then I had a day, like an 8 or 10-hour shift that I would run at another service.
Oh, my God.
No, I think I did 4 10s, a 24, a 16, and then an occasional 24 at another service on my day off.
That's horrifying.
Yes.
15 years.
So I probably only did that for about 8 years.
Only 1 week, and I'd be ready to like burn something down. Like it's not.
Well, most of it's routine calls. You know, it's occasionally that you have to put your skills to work, and when you have to put your skills to work, you better know your skills,
right?
Because somebody's life could very well be in the balance. So there's a lot of second guessing. I think sometimes. Should I have done something different? But I followed the protocol, and they still died. And you know, it's in the grand scheme of things, you didn't kill them,
right?
But sometimes late at night, when you overthink a call,
right,
you think it's your fault.
That's horrifying. How long ago did you quit?
I still occasionally work special events and like.
You mean like concerts and stuff, or
mostly
places
like 10K runs or mud runs, those type of things. And occasionally I'll work as a set medic for like a friend who needs a medic. They have a crash that day, or they have a stunt that day.
Okay.
So I still do that. I still have equipment, and I still have contacts, but as far as full time, I don't do it anymore.
Yeah. So speaking of like being rough on your mind, I know that you tweeted earlier today that you had a callback today, and it was pretty nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that at all?
I don't want to jinx it.
Okay. Well, what made it?
I was a fan of the director.
Okay.
He from way back. He had directed episodes of Moonlighting. For Christ's sake, I mean, this guy's a legend.
Wow.
So it was pretty. And of course the callback, the women that I was up against are all, top notch talent. So, it's the last time I had a callback, I wasn't as sure of myself this time as I was last time. Last time I owned the room. I went in, I engaged the director in conversation, got offered the part in the room, and I was the first one for the callback. So, that felt good. This was the opposite of that.
Is there anything that you do to prepare yourself besides, rehearse your lines? But is there anything you do to like get your mind right before
it
an
depends
audition?
on where the audition is. For instance, if it's at Donabella Jack's, I park in the same space.
What if it's not available?
It's always available. I park on the top floor of one of the garages.
Oh, okay.
And nobody wants to go to the 10th floor, so there's always like 82 spots open. And I like get out of my car and I run some lines and I do some, speak the speech I pray ye as some little vocal thing. So I do the same thing.
Okay.
But usually when I'm auditioning for a feature or a TV show, it's like 3 lines. It's not.
So it's not enough time.
Yeah, it's not shape. not reciting pages and pages of notes here. But it was funny. I did the audition for the Will Smith movie.
Oh, yeah?
And I got the call back.
This is a football movie?
Yeah.
That football movie?
Concussion.
Okay.
Well, that's the working title. I guess that'll be the title. I don't know. And I went in and a fan of the director. He had only directed one movie, which I had fallen in love with when I saw it.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of engaged him in conversation, and my callback was on 9/11
Oh, really?
of this year. I think, and it was we talked about what I was doing on the actual 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of, he got to know me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did the callback, and he liked it. And then when I got to set, the way the shot was set up, he didn't give me enough dialogue. There was still a lot of room to go. And I'm the only one in the scene that speaks.
Oh.
It's Will Smith on my right, Gugu Mbatha-Raw on my left, and I'm the only one talking. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking there as well.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, with Alec Baldwin sitting in
Shut
his
the
chair
front
in the corner,
door.
right?
Oh.
He was the first person I saw when I got to set. I was like, oh, it's Alec Baldwin. And you lose all faculties at that point.
Oh, yeah.
I
I went to a taping of SNL a couple years ago,
that's so
and
awesome.
Alec Baldwin was surprised. He just kind of popped up. He was on the Weekend Update. He was a character on the Weekend Update, and like I'm just like, what, Alec? What? And I'm like trying, like, can I get out? Because is he gonna still be around? Like,
and that's how my day started, right? And then the next person I see is, well, I didn't see Will Smith until we actually shot the scene, which was at the end of the day. But it was a great experience, but I had run out of dialogue. And Peter Landisman's the director. He's like, can you just make shit up? I'm like, yeah,
Sure.
I can make it. I can do a lot of stuff. And it's a Steadicam shot, and it goes on for a long time, and it'll probably be cut because I stepped on Will Smith's feet 13 times. He's got big feet. Come on.
Does he?
And we're this close.
Is he really tall?
Yeah.
Because you can never tell. I mean, like, his wife is petite, so when you look at pictures of them together, it's like, meh, he could be 5'7".
And ridiculously nice. Just ridiculously
That's good to hear.
Nice,
Good to hear.
He between takes, he would. There was always like a positive. He's like, man, that's some tough stuff you're saying. Like, oh, thank you, that's so nice. But like after the 7th or 8th take, an extra pulls me aside and says, listen, I'm an EMT, and the vital signs that you're saying aren't really what they would be if she was having the problem that you say she's having. And I'm like dumbfounded. He doesn't know I'm a paramedic. For one. He just thinks I'm an actor.
Right.
And the first AD came over and he's like, sir, you need to not talk to the actors. And I'm like, he just grabbed me and told me as I'm working.
Wow.
I'm already self-conscious enough.
Wow, yeah, so that completely is just going to throw you off.
Yeah, and...
he was trying to steal your thunder. He wanted to...
Yeah.
He was trying to make you look bad and in hopes that he could step in to that role.
And, I've worked as an extra. It's a thankless job. And some days it's fun and some days it isn't. And that was one of those days where those extras were in holding for 10 hours, 11 hours before they even got out to set. So I'm sure they were all... And there was a nurse in the scene, too. And, I consulted with her. I ran the vital signs past her. I was like, do you think this, does this sound right for you? She was like, yeah. So it wasn't like I just made them up willy-nilly. And I don't want to give away what happens in the story, but what's happening to the character... I've seen many times in my career.
Are you playing a paramedic?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm playing a City of Pittsburgh paramedic.
Okay.
But when I auditioned, it was like, I think I got the part because I was the only paramedic in Allegheny County with a SAG card. So I saw everybody, that's why I got the part. I'm like, it was just cheaper to hire me. That's all.
That's pretty great. So once after your auditions, like today, what did you do to settle yourself?
I went straight to Norwin High School to watch the Carolina Crown Drum and Bugle Corps practice. You have no idea what Drum and Bugle Corps is, do you? It's
None.
the best youth activity in the world.
Why? What is it?
It's a bunch of kids, literally ages 14 to 21, who tour the country for 3 months and play 11 and a half minutes of insane music on the field.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible.
There's all sorts of instruments. Like, what are the instruments?
Brass and percussion.
Oh, okay.
And now, when I was in it, it was just brass, just percussion.
What did you play?
Color guard. I was a soprano player because the instruments back then were in the key of G.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of trumpet, I played soprano because it was the name of the voice. So I had the soprano voice, and you had the mellophones and the baritones and the euphoniums. Now they're B-flat instruments, and they're called trumpets, tubas, euphonium. You know, they have legit names now, and there's also electronics involved.
Such as?
Mostly, there's one kid in the pit who has like this sweet DJ setup.
Nice.
And just runs.
That's awesome.
You know,
that sounds fun.
Yeah, it's great.
Because I do enjoy a good marching band.
Yeah,
like
these will blow your mind.
Wow. And what school is this again?
They were on their way through.
Oh.
So they stopped at Norman High School to rehearse for 2 days. They're from Fort Mill, South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
And they won the World Championship in 2013. But a lot of guys that I marched with back in the day teach there now. So my corps doesn't exist anymore, so it's kind of like my adopted corps.
Nice.
But I went out there last night, and then that's why I was late getting here today, because I wanted to see Ensemble so bad, but I was like, I can't make her wait anymore. I got to get there. But they'll pack up now and head to Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is like 500 and some miles.
Yeah.
And then they'll get up and rehearse again.
Wow. So, yeah, I never played instruments in anything like that in school. I started to play the violin later, like recently, and I had piano lessons when I was a kid, but I hated my piano teacher. She was so mean, so I quit after like maybe a couple years or something.
That's a shame, man. You know, same thing with acting coaches. You know, if you want kids to excel in arts, you need to encourage them any way you can.
Right. It's like, you're not saying to, like, you know, fill their head with cotton candy and whatnot. Like, you know, not telling them that if they're doing something wrong, but don't be an ass about about them trying to learn this new craft. Did you have an acting coach? Do you have an acting coach?
If I have a big audition coming up, I'll call, I'm a big fan of Randy Kovitz and the classes that he teaches, you know, and I'm not afraid to call him up and say, hey, listen, can you give me an hour and walk me through this or whatever.
What usually happens? Is it just more about helping you find that character?
That, and if you do the same monologue for a long time, you start to get stale, and your choices aren't as fresh. So having another set of eyes on it can really, you know, bring something that you haven't been doing. I've been doing the same monologue for 3 years, but if I go with somebody to coach me for an hour, I come away with it different than it was before. And Jack Erdy, do you know Jack Erdy?
I don't think so.
He lives in LA now, but anytime I have a film audition, I always run lines with Jack. He's amazing with insight. Because I can coach other actors, but when it comes to coaching yourself, it's completely different.
I'm sure.
So
because you really can't see what you're doing wrong,
or you think everything you're doing is wrong.
Right.
It's, you know, an extreme. It can be one extreme or the other. So, you know, I recommend Randy's fantastic, and there's Jill Wadsworth. She's amazing. But those are the two. These are
both in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Those are the two that I've studied with the most.
Can you say what your monologue is that you do? Or?
The monologue I do a contemporary dramatic monologue from a Neil LaBute play called The Break of Noon that nobody does because it's a horrible play. So that's what I do. And then I have.
Why did you choose that?
Because David Duchovny played the role on Off-Broadway. So.
Are you a big Duchovny fan?
What? No,
what do they
never
call him?
heard.
Dukes?
I don't know who he is.
Dukes?
We're called Philes.
Philes.
Philes. Philes.
Did you watch the what was that show that he's on now?
Aquarius.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you watch that? What are your thoughts on that? I watched it all.
Well, it's got a second season, so
Yeah.
yay.
At
for
first,
that.
I thought it was just going to be a one-off, just a
So did
summer
I.
thing.
And I think they may have thought so too.
Oh, we're coming back. We weren't done. Oh, okay.
Did you watch the network version or the Hulu version?
I watched whatever. They put all of them on demand
Okay.
on
Because
cable,
they
and I watched all of those.
All right, so you probably saw they shot extended scenes because
Yeah, I think they're all pretty long. They're all like seriously straight, like a little over an hour, maybe a couple.
and they could get away with stuff that the network censors wouldn't let them get away with.
Oh, really?
So there's essentially two versions of the show. Two
Really?
cuts of the show, yeah.
Huh. It started off really interesting to me, but I mean, the way they're selling it, I thought there was going to be more Charlie Manson
Yeah.
stuff, and this is more like Charlie Manson. I don't want to say light, but like before he goes pro, I
Yeah.
guess.
When he's still calling his followers. You know,
Yeah.
he's still. But what I found confusing was the first couple of episodes, everybody looked alike. I thought they were all Charles Manson.
Thank
They
you.
all have the beard and the hair.
Right.
And I couldn't tell one from the other.
Yeah, it took me a couple episodes to figure that out, and then it also took me a minute to I was confused as to why there were so many new cases that kept popping up. I was like, if this is just a one-off, why are we keep introducing new things?
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know. I mean, I'll watch the second season, definitely. Duchovny reminds me of a friend of mine, my one of my best friends. He lives in Austin, and they have that same little overbite thing. So like their mouths do the same thing. So that's so every time
With
I
the
think,
little pouty lip.
yeah, exactly. So it's like every time I watch Duchovny, it's like Zach.
But I can't get enough of they're filming the X-Files now.
Yeah,
And,
I never watched it.
Okay, I gotta go. That's I can't even.
I watched one episode, and it just happened to be like probably the scariest episode ever.
Home.
I don't know, whatever it had,
Family
like
under the bed with the mom
yes,
under the bed. Yep,
yes,
that was Home.
that's the one. It was like I was, for I don't know when it came out or whatever. I was like, let me give X-Files a try.
I'm gonna name drop. Tucker Smallwood plays Sheriff Taylor in that, and I love Tucker Smallwood. Anything he does a lot of science fiction. You probably saw him on Deep Space Nine.
I never watched.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
Let's see how it is. Okay.
I didn't. And while we're on the subject, no Battlestar Galactica, no
Yeah, me either. The
Star
original.
Trek.
Trek. You're the worst. You're such a bad geek. You are such a bad geek.
I have a section. I've got sections.
Yeah.
My geekdom goes to different areas and not sci-fi.
I don't know how we can say friends.
I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Watch the X-Files. We're doing xfilesnews.com is actually doing a rewatch right now.
Oh, really?
Until the premiere in January.
Are they on Netflix?
I think 1 through 9 are on Netflix or Hulu. I think they might be on Hulu.
Either or.
But I got the discs. You're all right.
Yeah, I think I feel like I'm old enough now as to where I can probably appreciate a little more.
But that episode that you saw takes place in the fictional town of Home, Pennsylvania, which is not fictional. It exists. And it's not too far from Pittsburgh. And it was an episode so disturbing that the network wouldn't run it again.
Oh,
And it
really?
did not run again until it went to syndication.
Yeah, that's when I saw it. It was like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was in syndication. It was probably like I actually remember the apartment that I was in when I saw the damn thing. It was like 2001, maybe?
But when Those Who Kill shot here, the TV show,
Mhm.
the showrunner was Glenn Morgan, who wrote the episode Home.
Oh, really?
So I was all up on him as an extra. I'm like, oh, Glenn Morgan, you know me, we've met. And I had met him before because I do X-Files events. And
X-Files events?
yeah, did
What's
you see my
that?
tattoo?
No.
This is Gillian Anderson's autograph. You see it?
Oh, my God. You are hardcore.
Yeah, I was pretty drunk.
Let's
She signed it and I went and got a tattoo.
Julie just said it, and we're gonna. So wait, so is an X-Files convention?
Not a convention. I have a friend who wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have another group of friends who do philanthropic things.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually goes to charities that people from the X-Files that
Okay.
worked on the X-Files, pick a charity and
Okay.
we raise money. Well, not me personally. I'm not involved in the organization, but I have contributed in the past. And my friend, she wrote a book, and 100% of the proceeds went to the American Cancer Society.
Oh, great.
Because one of the executive producers, Kim Manners, died of lung cancer.
Oh, wow.
And it was her way of You know,
Yeah.
because for I don't want to say a TV show changed my life, but I watch TV differently. Like that show, there's been a handful of shows that I've watched from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I think Remington Steele, Moonlighting, X-Files, Third Watch, and The West Wing are like the only shows that I had never missed
Oh, wow.
from start to finish. And couldn't wait, like, to,
Remington Steele.
record them and watch them in the morning. But the X-Files was like a game changer for me, the way I watched television, the way television was presented, because it was on the heels of Twin Peaks.
Right.
Which faltered off.
Mm-hmm.
So had you gotten into that show, the X-Files was the next logical step. Gotcha. And plus it ran after, Bruce Campbell's show at the time. The Cowboy Show.
Bruce Campbell had a cowboy show?
My phone doesn't work in here. I can't Google anything.
We're going to look that up right now. Bruce Campbell's cowboy show.
What was that? It was the lead-in.
The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
There you go.
That was only like a year. That show only lasted for a year.
And it was a great show. It was a really good show. And it was the lead-in to the X-Files. I think they both premiered...
93?
Well, I know the X-Files was September 10th, 1993.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's when Briscoe County Jr. did or not. But I had gotten off tour. I was marching drum corps at the time, and I'd broken my leg during the summer. And while all my friends were out drinking that Friday, I stayed home and saw this show called The X-Files, and I was like, what? And I never missed an episode.
Amazing! Do you sit down and do a bunch of binge watching? Like,
Not
you
so
marathon
much
it
anymore.
yourself?
Yeah. I do have episodes that I'll go back to over and over. Like they did an episode called Ex-Cops, where they made fun of cops and paranormal. It was brilliant. Hollywood AD. There's a handful of episodes that are just I keep going back to.
Well, I am going to go ahead and go back and I'm going to watch the X-Files because when it started, I was like a junior in high school or something when that started, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't mature enough to take on the responsibilities.
The first season, there's some scary stuff in the first season.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I do enjoy some horror. I do enjoy the good horror.
And now that they're shooting again, my Twitter feed is just blown up with...
So it's not a movie that they're doing. They're
doing another season.
Yeah. So I guess you watch Californication too.
I gave up after Californication kind of... I thought season 3 or season 4 was horrible, and I quit watching after that.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, the first season was fantastic.
Yeah, and I was kind of... I don't know. It was just weird. My, a friend of mine, his ex-roommate, he says is the real person that Hank Mooney is based off of.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how true that is.
Well, the one good thing about that show was the women had all the power.
Yeah.
The female characters had all the power in that show.
All right.
But there's a lot of redundancy, and we were seeing the same things over and over, and I started to not care for the characters anymore.
So speaking of female power, do you find it difficult? Do you find difficulties being a female in filmmaking at all?
Unfortunately, yes. There's in the low budget community, maybe not so much because I speak my mind, and if I'm directing something and guys want to talk over me, I let them know that that's not how it's going to work. But I was a lieutenant in the fire department. I see things differently. Like I felt like I always had to fight for what I wanted.
Yeah.
Especially in early in my career in EMS. But around here, there's not nearly as many female filmmakers as I'd like to see. I think at the 48 last year, there was the group that we saw. There was one female director, and that just was upsetting to me.
Yeah. I always get super pumped when I see like at least a female team leader name. It's like, hopefully she's not just the only one with the credit card, and that's why she's listed as team leader. Hopefully she's, producer or director. And I would like to see many more female film directors here.
And I'm sure you're aware of the Tumblr shit women
Oh,
directors
yeah.
here or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's
That's just like, I was shocked at a lot of those and just really appalled. Like, I mean, I guess not shocked. I don't know. It just was really just fucked up. Like
yeah,
how
it's
blatant
disgusting. Yeah.
and how horrible it is. And I thought that, that was just something that, because, I've been on, like you said, like indie film shoots, and sometimes, or even just regular things of, just a gig of doing video for a concert or something like that. I find myself, I've been like the only female in the control room or on set or there, and everybody just kind of, they want to talk down to me, and like I don't know what the hell I'm
Right.
doing, and it's just like, and I just kind of hoped that things were better, like in Hollywood, New York, like with a little more professional, where there's more money involved, and nope, it's
Just as bad, yeah. And there's Gina Davis's gender. Oh Jesus, what's her institute called? The Gina Davis
to the Googles.
Gender Equality Institute. Because Gina Davis is on the forefront of a lot of equality issues. And recently the Women's World Cup team.
Gina Davis Institute on Gender and Media.
Gender Media, yeah.
Yeah.
That's always worth a follow
Yeah.
on her Facebook. The Women's World Cup, these athletes getting paid $8 million less than the men did.
Oh my God.
Or less. I think the men got like $9 million. $9 million for as far as they went, and the women only got like maybe $2 million for winning.
Oh my God.
So maybe a $7 million. The 8 is sticking in my head somewhere, but it might have only been $7 million. Only $7 million.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know what we're complaining about. You got your $2 million, ladies. But it's frustrating, and luckily the people that I work with, especially in theater, there's a lot more gender equality. It's not so much an issue, but on a film set it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
They like to. Some filmmakers like to have a hierarchy, and they like to be on that top rung.
Right. No, it's definite. They try to keep it as a boys' club. Even when I get new people for the 48-hour film project, even though my name, my picture, it's all on the website, and it's pretty apparent that I'm a female, they will come and look for the producer, and if Dan's with me, they'll immediately turn and start talking to him as opposed to me. Wow. And I'm like, hey, hi, hello.
I don't know if you know me, but I'm in charge. So simmer down. But yeah, it's frustrating. When you run as a paramedic, most of the time your partner is an EMT, which has a lesser skill set. Does the basic stuff, the basic life support. The paramedic does the advanced life support. And I worked with the majority of male EMTs. And when we'd get to scene, people would talk to him. And I'd be like, I'm the ranking healthcare professional. You're going to talk to me. And I had, I've been assaulted more than once.
Oh my God.
I've had to throw down. I've been shot at. We fought more than once with patients. And I'm not talking patients who didn't know any better, like intoxes, or a lot of times when you get a diabetic emergency, their sugar gets so low that they just lash out. It's easy to know when the person has no control over what they're doing. But when somebody just doesn't like you because you're a woman, or it's frustrating. And I come across this in DCI as well. I had made a comment on a DCI page about a meeting of all men, majority of men, like 99% men, white men, middle-aged. So I was like, wow, there's an awful lot of middle-aged white men in that room. And immediately the men were like, oh, I didn't notice it till you brought it out. Why does it have to be? I was like, you didn't notice it because you see you in that picture. That's why you didn't notice it. So they tried to turn it around that, it was because of, and then I wasn't doing enough. Now I volunteer for the Drum Corps Medical Project. I do my part to give back to the activity I love. But these men who don't know me that were upset because of a little comment I made on Facebook, and I got threats. Somebody showed up at my house.
What?
And it got out of hand a little bit.
Oh my God.
And I stood my ground. I'm not going to back down.
Good for you.
It's if somebody tells me that it's my fault for bringing that to their attention, that's their problem, not mine.
Right. Exactly.
And I wasn't the only woman that pointed it out either.
Right. Well, plus you were right that they didn't see it as a problem because they see themselves represented in that, and like, no,
and they don't understand that, and of course, when I say they, I'm generalizing. The people that were in this thread is what I mean when I say they. And then I creeped on his Facebook, and it was like Confederate flag, lived in his mom's basement.
Lovely.
Computer engineer. I mean, stereotypical,
basement troll, basically, like keyboard thug.
Yeah, and he had it was just it got out of hand real fast, and I'm an easy target because I don't. You can find me. I mean, I'm all over social media. It's not that hard to find me.
Right.
And somebody found me, and it didn't scare me, really, so much as it did. I found it alarming that somebody would go to all that trouble. And really, dude, come on.
It's like you don't have. This is the biggest thing going on in your life right now. Like
at like noon on a Tuesday, you got to come to my house. But I was and I got a big mouth. I'm going to tell you how I feel. Life is too short to get walked all over.
Exactly. Don't shut your mouth.
Yeah.
That's what they want. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to shut your mouth for a little bit because we're going to take a break. And then we're going to come back to do your top 5. All right, so we're back for the top 5. Are you looking at my list?
Nope. I can't see anything.
Oh, okay. All right, so I also made a list because that's what I do. It's give and take here. I make nice. So your top 5 was top 5 celebrities you have met, because I know you've been on a lot of shoots and you've been in a lot of films and TV and theater. And I know which one of your celebrities that you've met, which is my favorite, but I don't know everybody that you've met. I was gonna say the photo of you and Elijah Wood made me the most jealous ever.
That dude was pretty awesome. Yeah, I didn't work with him. He came to see us perform,
which was pretty Scare
neat.
House.
Yeah,
nice.
And he and Rose
McGowan.
Is that the one from Game of Thrones?
No. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. I don't know her last name.
Yeah, she loved to drop the F-bomb. Her British little F-bombs were awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, but they were good sports, real good sports.
All right, so what's your list?
Okay. First is a tie because I met them at the same time. Sir Patrick and Sir Ian.
I take that back. This is my most jealous.
But it was very brief. It was I had won this weekend, and the package included backstage to a show called Life in the Theater, which is a David Mamet play in the 70s that they revived with T.R. Knightley and Sir Patrick Stewart.
In New York?
Yeah. And it did not translate. That 40 years was rough on it. Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, and of course the performances were good, and it was a lot of fun. But we had got to go backstage, and before the show, Sir Ian walked Sir Patrick to the theater, and afterwards they were both in like the green room, on the other side of the dressing rooms, and just kind of sitting in a green room with Patrick Stewart on one side and Ian McKellen on the other, and I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah. What do?
You don't talk, for one.
Right.
It was like, these are two icons, amazing, and of course I know them from Shakespeare, but pop culture, I guess you have X-Men and
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
And he's also one of them, Star Trek, also? Next Generation?
Picard. He played Picard in Star Trek: The Next Generation, which might be, and that might have been how I was introduced to him, and then learned about the Royal Shakespeare Company, you know,
Right.
reading like Starlog magazine.
Gotcha.
So that was pretty ridiculous.
That's awesome.
I didn't sleep for like 2 days. It was crazy, but I couldn't talk. I couldn't form words. I was like an idiot. I was a complete and total idiot. So that would be my number one. I met a lot of great people, and I've worked with a lot of great people. Work-wise, Robert Englund was a dream.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
I met him in February.
Oh, at the was he here at the con? Or was he at
I
our
was
con?
I was at a con in Florida.
Yeah, he does a lot of cons.
Yeah. He was really nice.
Right, he's ridiculously nice, and he has a story for every. Like, there's no downtime on a set with Robert. I think we shot for 22 days, and I heard 6,000 stories, and I would hear them again because he's a great storyteller, and he's a great actor.
Yeah, like we were in a van with him on, like, from the hotel to the convention center, and he had like 3 stories, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, it was probably like a 10-minute ride.
And he never says no to fans. He's always accommodating to fans. He got mobbed at the airport here because we shot over Halloween. We shot a horror movie with Robert Englund over Halloween.
Oh my God.
But that's a big thing for Freddy Krueger. There's
Yeah.
a lot of cons that need him, so we had to lose him for a weekend and flew him to Florida, Orlando. And when he was leaving Pittsburgh, he was just mobbed.
Wow.
And I guess his agent was like, that can't happen again. So I had to call a friend of mine to work at the airport. And I'm like, can he be escorted away from those? And they're like, yeah, we'll take care of it. So I don't know if it got taken care of or not. But I worked with Dana Ashbrook from Twin Peaks.
Oh.
That
nice.
was fun.
That's cool.
I worked with Will Smith, obviously. But as far as meeting people, like meeting icons, I can't give you 5 because there's been Nathan Fillion, for Christ's sake, ridiculously
That's great.
cuddly.
Oh.
The man gives side hugs. He does.
Oh, I love it.
But I met him because the director, one of the executive producers on the show Castle is Rob Bowman,
Okay.
who was one of the executive producers on X-Files.
Yes.
So one of the X-Files adventures that I went on was to spend 2 days on the set of Castle as a guest of Rob Bowman.
Fun.
So I get to talk with Seamus Dever, who went to CMU here. And he went to grad school with a kid I went to undergrad with. So that was a lot of fun, just being on set with those guys. And, of course, meeting David and Jillian at different times. I've never met them.
They weren't in the same place.
They didn't do anything together for almost 20 years.
Yeah, I saw. I don't know if they're at Wizard World or something.
I think that might
not
have been
here.
the first one.
But yeah,
that they
like
did
recently
together,
I saw, like, the internet's exploded with people and their photo ops with both of them. Just like, oh my God.
And people will pay big money to have their photos taken with both of them.
Yeah.
And of course they'll oblige because it's money in their pocket. It's honestly, from the events that I did with them, all the money they collected went to charity. So
Oh,
it
that's
wasn't like they were
wonderful.
lining their pockets. But,
Yeah.
and at one point somebody auctioned off a piece of paper that Jillian had in her pocket and sold it for $400, like right there on the spot. It was weird. It was, there's a lot of weird things happen when you get to certain fandoms. But the Files, the X-Files fandom is a lot of great people, a lot of philanthropic people, a lot of people who, Dana Scully was a pioneer for women characters.
No, this is true.
There was, I think, parts in the script where they would want her to walk behind Mulder. She'd be like, no, she's his equal.
Nice.
So she's, so Jillian said, I'm not going to walk behind him. And other than being 5 foot and David being 6'2", sometimes she had to. But,
right. It just looks weird if you're right next to him.
She actually, one of the big things was she was always, on the close-ups, always on an apple box. And she tweeted a picture of her on an apple box like the first week they were filming, and it got like 10,000 retweets.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was...
Man, I didn't realize he was actually that tall.
He's got to be 6, maybe 6'1".
Wow.
And she's maybe 5'2".
That's very... It's very pleasant.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
And he was... The time I met him twice, and He was kind of cool and standoffish,
Mm.
which is
Which
probably
I like.
his personality.
Yeah,
you
which
know?
I dig that.
He wasn't mean,
Right, he
or
was just-
anything. He was just kind of like, but she was,
Just a hint of an asshole-ish, like just a little drop, just a little hint. I like it.
yeah. So I would like to meet them again.
So
But
is that 5?
I don't know. Is that?
So you said Ian and Patrick were 1.
Um,
Jillian and David, they were separate. So that's 3.
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion is 4.
And I'd have to say, yeah, Robert Englund was up there.
Robert Englund.
Just because he was such a good dude
Nice.
and loves theater. So
Yeah.
we talked a lot of theater on set.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to see that someone, I mean, yes, he's an icon as Freddy Krueger. That's what like most people know him as. But it's nice to see that, he's something outside of that,
Yeah.
Because you hate when actors get caught up in that one character that has made them.
Yeah, and that defined him. Yeah, of course, he would have had a successful career otherwise,
Mhm.
but nothing like
Right.
he had with Freddy. And he knows that character pays the bills today, and
Mhm.
keeps him in the lifestyle that he's used to. So he does a lot of conventions. He does a
Mhm.
lot of, and the horror genre. Horror fans are the most, might even be as loyal as the science fiction fans
Yeah.
when it comes to shows they like. So he's got quite a following.
Yeah, definitely. It's sick. Like when I was in Florida, his line always just like
Yeah.
people just like down like wrapped around. He would take like breaks for like an hour and then people would line up again. And it's just crazy.
And he can go, like, he was never not on set. Like, he would just hang out in Video Village when he wasn't
Really?
shooting, telling stories. And he's got a photographic memory, too. So if we had to bring in new sides, he
Mhm.
would just look at the sides and have them done. And the other actors have to go to their trailers and do the way they prepare. And he's like, yeah, whatever, I got it.
No, he's
Let's
a
just do
great
it.
person. He's
Yeah.
got a great personality, and I really enjoyed that 15 minutes that I had with him. Okay, so my list. Number 1. Well, this isn't in any specific order. This is just me thinking of it. Ralph Macchio.
Nice.
I was like super pumped at the same convention that Robert Englund was at. I was working it actually, and I had 2 goals of people. Like, I had to be with my guy that I was with, but I was like, I need to see Ralph Macchio and Ryan Hurst, who's number 2 on the list. So Ralph Macchio, and like I'm like stuck, and it just so happened that my guy's booth was right behind Ralph's, so we were like separated, but like over by a curtain. But I was actually separated by the curtain. We shared a curtain with William Zabka.
Okay.
So after a while, I got to be like, oh, just peeking in. Hey, Billy. But yeah, so I was like stalking and waiting. Like, when is he going to show up? And he finally did, and I'm just like shaking. Like, and I've met like quite a few celebrities in my life, and Ralph Macchio is probably like the only one that I'm just
He's
like
iconic.
Yeah, like that's he was like probably one of my first crushes. Like when I was a kid, like Karate Kid. Like we were like hardcore into that. Like all 3. Even the third one's not so great. Like we were super big fans of the Karate Kid movies, and it was such a big deal. Like I finally met him, and I was just like, and still just like I don't even remember what I said to him or what he said to me. No idea. There's a photo, and I'm and I'm cool with it. I'm like, I'm okay. So yeah, like he was really nice. And number 2, Ryan Hurst, Opie from Sons of Anarchy, which I just...
Now, was he in... No, was he in the movie or was he in one of the TV shows shooting here?
He's in one of the TV shows. What is the name of it? The Outsiders.
Okay, he is in The Outsiders.
Yeah.
After a while, they start to... Because you get the breakdowns and you go and audition for them, and after a while, they're almost interchangeable.
I'm sure.
Because it's always a mountain woman with long hair. It's the same thing no matter what. I'm like, all right, I got it. I speak Appalachia.
But yeah,
he would be pretty cool.
He was great, and he was just, he's got this heart. The character that he played on Sons of Anarchy was like, hard, but, whatever. But he's so nice, so sweet, and he had like the biggest and like brightest smile, and he's just like this ginormous teddy bear. He's probably like 6'4".
Wow,
like
he's a big dude.
I was in heels, and he was still like a good few inches taller than me, and I'm just like, oh my god, a big dude, and he gives good hugs, and he was just like so nice, and I was super stoked about that.
I think he's what drew me to Sons of Anarchy, because his character, Opie,
Mhm.
was really the first one you cared about.
Right.
The first one that you... Because he was a likable character.
Exactly. Spoiler alert: when Opie
Yeah.
got killed, I almost stopped
I
watching.
lost- yeah.
Like I was like, because I think I actually cried a little bit because I was like, this is the only one that I'm really like.
Yeah. I mean, he got harder, obviously, after what happened. His wife? Or was his girlfriend?
It was his wife.
But in the beginning, the first season, the first couple of episodes, like, here's a man that all he wants to do is provide for his family.
Right.
So you kind of like him, and then
Right.
he gets drawn back into the lifestyle. But yeah, he's a really good actor.
Yeah, and he was also on Bates Motel this last season.
I haven't seen this season.
He was such a weird character, and I like it. It was like really kooky, drug dealer, whatever. But he was just like, it was a weird character, and just the cadence in which he spoke, which was,
Check
it was,
out.
I like that a lot.
I like the first season, but I haven't seen anything from the second season.
It's so good. Like, Psycho is my favorite movie, and I was concerned that they were going to screw it up. But no, it's just a really good, I really enjoy the show.
Yeah, the first episode, I was like, really? And then the more I watched it, but
Vera, she is killing it.
yeah, she's amazing.
She is
And
killing
everything
it.
she does. She did some, she's done a lot of other stuff since that came out. Was she on The Americans, too? Did she guest on The Americans?
I don't know, I haven't seen any of that.
Oh, you gotta see that. It's a good show.
Yeah? But no, like, everything I've seen Vera in, amazing.
Yeah.
She's just so good. Number 3, this is tough. Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, how is that not number one?
It's not in any order. Like,
Okay.
'cause-
Oh, that's right.
I
Okay.
just-
So, for those of you listening at home, number one, Robert Downey Jr.
number 1, Robert Downey Jr. Coming in number 1 with a bullet, RDJ.
Number one on the call sheet, number one in our hearts. Wow, that would have been cool. So tell me this story.
It was when he was here shooting Wonder Boys. I was a student. It was probably like the first or second year that I lived here, and I was a student at the AIP, and I was working at Rivers Club downtown. And I heard that he was in town, and so I called every hotel and asked to be connected to Mr. Downey's room, and somebody connected me.
That is
It was
awesome.
true. And he answered the phone. I gave him some cock and bull story about I wanted to interview him for a school paper or something like that. I don't And he's like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. I'm sure he was probably high at the time. And he's like, supposedly took down my name and number. He's like, oh, I'll give you a call back, blah blah blah. He did not do that. I saw him within the next 48 hours. I was at Rivers Club. There was like, it's like a little social club kind of thing, and they have the restaurant upstairs and then like a gym, and I was a waiter and or a waitress, whatever, and I was working out, and he had a temporary membership while he was in town, and he was working out as well, and I just ran into him
That's
there, and I'm
crazy.
like in the gym
I'm
with
not
him.
stalking
No,
you.
honestly, I'm not. I'm sorry. Is this the men's locker room? But I didn't. So I just started talking to him, and then I didn't mention that I was the one that called his hotel room. But he was like looking at. He's like, giving me like the once over and stuff. He's like, they're looking for extras and stuff. You should go down to Nancy Monster and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay. And so I went down, and they cast me as a waitress at in the bar scene with him and Toby and Michael Douglas. I think Katie Holmes was there too. I don't remember. But yeah. So like, maybe you can probably see like my butt in like the background or something in that scene.
Nice.
But
I will look for your ass.
But I didn't come back the second day of shooting because I was like, this is dumb.
It can be long days, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go do, well, I won't be doing it now because Veep has relocated to LA, but I'll go do House of Cards in Veep. But we get the union background pay.
Oh.
So it's worth, and not only do you get the union background pay, you get the union food.
Oh, nice.
So you get fed better.
Yeah.
So even if it costs X amount of dollars to drive down there, you're still coming home with money in your pocket and money going to your health and pension.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was like,
Yeah.
I think I've done the extra thing like 3 times, and I'm just
It's
like,
rough. I mean, people walk out. I was a PA on Batman.
Oh, really?
The day we had 11,000 extras, and The paid extras stay. There's only a handful of paid extras. Everybody else is volunteer.
Yeah.
We lost quite a few throughout the day.
Yeah.
But you know, what are you gonna do? They're working for free.
I guess you gotta kind of you gotta just account for that, which is why there's so many to begin with, I guess. Number 4, Sean Patrick Flannery.
Don't tell me that name is. No, it's not ringing a bell.
Boondock Saints.
Nah. I never
Yeah.
watched that.
Oh.
But I know.
Powder?
Now I know. Oh, Powder. Okay. I liked it the first time I saw it when it was called Michael.
You shut your mouth. Powder was revolutionary.
I think I'm confusing him with the John Michael Scott or something.
It's not him.
Yeah.
It's but I'm like Boondock Saints, like that's one of my top movies. Like I love that movie. It's so good. And I've always really had a crush on Sean Patrick Flannery. He was like on Dexter for a season too. Like I think Powder was the first thing I saw him in, and I was like following. I think I've probably seen everything that he's been in. And I was working a convention, I think a Wizard World in Dayton, maybe Columbus, and he was there. And I guess it's kind of a twofer because the other guy from Boondock Saints was in there as well.
2 for 1. 2 Boondock Saints for the price of 1.
Like Norman Reedus was there, but I never got anywhere near him.
He's cool.
Yeah, I never got anywhere near him though. So
I totally forgot. Not Norman Reedus, and who was the one that cuts his hand off or is chained to the thing in the first season?
Rocco. Oh, in the first season of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Michael Rooker.
Michael
Rooker.
Yeah, you call him Rooker. He goes by Rooker.
Oh,
I met
Rooker.
him and James Gunn.
Oh,
night,
really?
Yeah, in L.A.
Nice.
Both super cool.
Nice. So I'm like one of the 3, Rocco, I forget his last name, but he was also there, and we was chatting with them, and we ended up partying with them afterwards. Like they invited us to like we're gonna have an after party down here at blah blah blah, and we're like okay.
What's my honor?
I know. So we went to some club with them, and
That
it was
is awesome.
and it was great.
These are way better than my stories. These are way better than my stories.
Okay, and I guess Nicholas Brendan from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, okay.
I met him at a convention a little over a year ago, and we became friends. Like my friends were running the convention, Horror Realm. I don't know if you know those guys, and they were like, "Hey, you want to sit with Nick for the whatever?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm Buffy. That's my fandom right there, and so I did, and like we became friends, and I was there with him for like the one day, and then I didn't come back the next day, and then he called me, and he was like, "Oh, you couldn't come by and say goodbye."
Say goodbye.
I know, and I'm like,
That's awesome.
and I'm like, no, I had stuff to do, man. Blah blah blah, and he's like, "Well, blah blah blah. If I ever come back to Pittsburgh, I'll give you a call." Like a few months later, he came back to Pittsburgh, and it happened to be his birthday weekend. And he called me, and he was like, "You want to help me out?" And I was like, "Sure." And I sat with him for the weekend, and Dan made him a birthday cake, and
that's awesome.
like we helped him celebrate his birthday, and like we've been friends ever since.
That's so cool. And that's another huge fandom. Like, just Joss in general.
Yeah, just the Whedonites.
I didn't watch a lot of Buffy.
Hmm.
Because that was like my transition from college to adulthood.
Hmm.
So I had to make adult decisions, and one of them was not watching Buffy. But, I didn't really even catch Firefly the first time around. I was a late comer to Firefly. Even Dr. Horrible. It was like 2 years after that I got into Dr. Horrible, yeah.
That was during the writer's strike, too.
But I didn't have internet for years, and I still really don't have it. I just, being online isn't my...
Yeah. And I think I remember I had like really slow internet at the time when that came out, and I remember like it took like a day or something for me to download that properly.
And it overwhelmed all the servers.
It was crazy, but so worth it. Like it's such a good movie or show, whatever.
It's hilarious.
And the soundtrack, I have it on my iPod.
Right? Don't work out to it. It's the worst soundtrack to work out to. I made the mistake of doing it to that, and then the
bad horse, bad horse, bad horse, bad horse.
He rides. I don't even know the words. Dun, 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 dun. Do I have it on my phone? No, I don't have it. But yeah, that's a fantastic Neil Patrick Harris is Money in the Bank. And
Oh yeah.
somehow they can make Nathan Fillion sing in tune. So I don't think singing is his thing. I did hear a couple outtakes where he's in a different key. But that's cool. That's not his thing. But that's a great character for him.
Yeah, it is. It's perfect. It's got that, cheese ball. Hey, I'm Captain Hammer. Hey.
The hammer is my penis.
We totally had sex.
We do the weird stuff. I have a couple Captain Hammer shirts.
Do you?
Yeah, I get a lot of stuff from T Fury.
Oh, nice.
And I have a lot. Well, it's a Firefly shirt I'm wearing.
Oh,
It's shiny and
nice.
serenity. But yeah, I got a lot of those. I got a shit ton of X-Files shirts.
Mm.
And science fiction really isn't my thing. It used to be when I was growing up, But now I gravitate more towards like true crime or comedy.
I do enjoy true crime tales like that. Did you see the Jinx, that HBO documentary about the guy who?
No, but then they arrested him
Yeah.
the last episode.
Yeah, right. Like basically, like from something that they found that they uncovered in that last episode. People went back and was like, wait a minute, and then it was like a couple weeks after that aired, they were like, well, you're gonna have to come in. We're
gonna have to speak with you again, sir. No, you don't need your attorney. Just come on in.
All right. Random question time. What time of day do you feel most creative?
Wow. I would have to say in the evening, if not late at night, early morning, because I did work such odd hours, and I did work overnights. I worked 7 p to 7 a for years.
Gross.
So I think I enjoyed it. I liked sleeping during the day, because it gets you out of a lot of shit too. I can't. Sorry guys, I can't go to lunch. I have to sleep.
Move, help you move.
And you can put that sign up on the door that says "Day Sleeper, do not ring." Yeah. It was good stuff. So I think that my most creative time is probably, I would give myself a window between like 9 p.m. and 1 a.m.
Huh. Interesting. Well, Cindy, we have reached the end of our hour and a half.
Wow.
And look at you, like, oh, I'm so boring.
I am
There's no
boring.
way I'm going to be able to fill up a whole hour. Lies. Do you
Well,
feel good about it?
I
You feel okay?
I feel good. I'm glad we got to talk about some women's issues, even though briefly.
Yes.
But lady filmmakers, if you're listening, get involved. We need more.
Make something. We want to see it. We want to hear from you.
Tell your stories.
Yes, and if you are a female filmmaker and you've got some stuff you want to share, please do. You can email me at ruggedangel@gmail.com, or you can post it on the Rugged Angel Productions Facebook page. And let me know, because I want to talk to you, and we want to help you showcase your stuff. And come out to the Pittsburgh 48-hour film project screenings. Hopefully they haven't happened by the time this is aired already.
It's like 2 weeks away. Come on.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the schedule is on this one yet. But thank you, Cindy.
Thank
you.
you
for taking the time to chill with me and talk and helping me get to know you.
It was a good time. Thanks for
Yes.
having me.
And do you have anything, websites or anything other than 3x7 you want to shout out one more time?
Just my Twitter mostly. That's how I do most of my communication. At RESQ51KMG365. That's Rescue 51 KMG365. From the old TV show Emergency. That was their call sign.
And on that note, we are out. This has been a Rugged Angel production.